These recent Terra Luna Classic updates could be catalyst events to saving Terra Luna Classic and having us see explosive growth going back in the direction of some new high levels. Now let's talk about what's happening with Terra Luna Classic and why this is such a big deal. First of all, on Terra Station or on Station, you guys can see the upgrade to version 2.1.0. This is basically going into parity. What's really nice about this thing's passing 99.5% voting yes, and this is ending in 17 hours, which is really great news because shortly after that, we can expect to see the upgrade actually go in for parity. Lunc Army end up providing some more information about that. You should definitely make sure you're following his Twitter account to stay up to date. But one thing he highlighted is that there's this timer right here on Stake Bin that you guys can go ahead and see. We're going to switch that to dark mode because white is too bright for us here. So we're going to go ahead and take a look on Stake Bin. You guys can see this upgrade. It's going to halt. It's important to note that basically the Terra Luna Classic network is going to halt. You're not going to be able to actually interact with the Terra Luna Classic network when the upgrade goes into effect. It's going to take a couple hours most likely. Be prepared. Let's just say, assume it's going to be down for a day. That way, maybe if it goes a little bit longer, you don't have to freak out. If it goes shorter, maybe it's only an hour, then great, that's awesome. But just be prepared. This maybe will take a little bit longer because this requires a bunch of the validators to actually update. And if validators have trouble, validators maybe are unavailable at the time, there can be issues. We've seen that happen in the past before. So just expect the Terra Luna Classic network to go down right now at the time of recording in just about 2 days. You guys can go ahead and check out this timer as well. You just go to terraclassic.stakebin.io/terra/tools. You guys can see this countdown timer to when they're going to be doing the upgrade. And again, just be prepared for the network to go down. But why this is such a big deal? Because parity is going to open up a lot of opportunities for Terra Luna Classic. This will basically allow us to get different utilities from different ecosystems to come into the Terra Luna Classic ecosystem. This will provide so many new opportunities because basically the interesting thing about the Cosmos ecosystem is that you can think of it like a Swiss Army knife for developers. You have a basic set of tools or a Swiss Army knife that developers can use. Now, Terra Luna Classic, we have some unique features like our burn tax, for example, which developers would have to account for in their code, but a lot of developers, they go ahead and take their simple Swiss Army knife that they use to build their main code set, and they can copy over the vast majority of their code set, and maybe they just need a couple small tweaks. They need like one new tool to adjust for the burn tax. It's very little work compared to, for example, entirely rebuilding something from the ground up. They can just make some small little tweaks, and the majority of their code would be usable between Terra Luna Classic and some of these other networks. And so this is such a big deal because right now with Terra Luna Classic, we have just a couple of utilities that are really supporting the different Terra Luna Classic burns, but this would open up the Terra Luna Classic ecosystem to so many more opportunities for both burns and just value in our ecosystem, because one big thing that we need to be seeking is different transactions happening on the blockchain. We need people to be interacting with the blockchain. We need people to care about Terra Luna Classic again, because of course the Terra Luna Classic community is dedicated. The Terra Luna Classic community cares about the future of Terra Luna Classic, but there's a lot of people out there that still remember us from the Great Crash, and they think, what's going to happen with Terra Luna Classic? Why does this thing have value? Why should they care? Well, we should show them. We can show them right now. For example, we're at $500 million market cap. We're a top 100 cryptocurrency for Terra Luna Classic. We are not dead. We're not gone, but they're still going to look at this and go, okay, it's down a lot from where it used to be. Maybe there's not a ton of value going into the ecosystem. This is going to be their perspective because they're going to see you have a couple different utilities, a couple NFT projects, but there's not a lot of development here compared to some of the ecosystems. Once we can actually achieve parity, that will skyrocket the amount of development opportunities for Terra Luna Classic. We can also see some other great news for Terra Luna Classic. On Stake Bin, you guys can see right above me here, the number of Lunc stake just passed 1 trillion Terra Luna Classic. This has been a milestone that we've been trying to accomplish for quite some time. And we finally hit it. We finally hit 1 trillion Terra Luna Classic stake. People who are staking their Terra Luna Classic, they obviously have a lockup period where they can't go ahead and sell their Terra Luna Classic. So there's definitely a lot of people that are out there believing in the Terra Luna Classic ecosystem, willing to stake their cryptocurrencies, not be able to sell their cryptocurrencies because they believe instead in the future value of Terra Luna Classic. If people were, for example, expecting parity to cause a pump and dump scenario, they would be unstaking. We're not seeing that. We're actually seeing the number of Lunc staked go up every single day almost. And so that's really good news because that means overall people are expecting parity will be the first milestone towards a larger Terra Luna Classic price movement. With this major Terra Classic update, we can expect a few other things to happen here on June 14th. Again, coming up here in just under 2 days, we can expect to see a WASM upgrade happen as well, and the 5% minimum validator commission go into effect. This has been something that's been pending, I believe, for a couple months at this point, where people passed a proposal, the community passed a proposal, where then we would have a 5% minimum validator commission. That would eliminate some of the 0% commission validators who are running at a loss continuously and basically trying to push out competition by being a loss leader. Instead, what we're going to do here is force people to take some money for the validator. They can do whatever they want with that money. They can pay for their validator fees. They could burn Terra Classic with the fees, whatever they want to do with that 5% minimum or higher. They could go higher, of course, but that's going to force people to at least go into a 5% range, which is good to know because that's going to help the long-term sustainability of Terra Classic. We don't want to end up with a system with, for example, 10 or 20 different validators. We want to have a ton of different validators. That way our network is decentralized as much as possible. Obviously, we have a couple major validators with a lot of control, but as we can try and decentralize our ecosystem more and more, that's definitely beneficial for all Terra Classic holders. Now, another major piece of news for Terra Classic, the L1 Task Force Q3 proposal is up to be reviewed by Lunc Army. A couple interesting things to note. That one thing that they want to do is focus on development strategies for reducing the supply of Terra Classic and USTC. So they're wanting to start focusing a little bit more on USTC and the potential of bringing that back into our ecosystem, or I should say restoring USTC to its former glory within our ecosystem. Obviously, USDC has been having quite a bit of trouble recently. You had the DPEG, the value's been low. People have been wondering, what is the future of USDC? Well, the L1 Task Force is hoping to work with different exchanges, work with some different people who put forward proposals for USDC, and see what they can actually accomplish as far as bringing value to USDC, because inevitably what that will do is bring value to Terra Classic ecosystem. A lot of people don't really want to interact in ecosystems where there's not a stable coin or there's not some kind of stable store of value. Now, that could have different values. Usually the most common is a $1 stable coin, but people want to have that. That way they can trade in and out of these different cryptocurrencies on these different ecosystems and have some kind of stable store of value that they can rely on. So overall, I'm really excited for the future of Terra Classic. I think this is some great updates that we're going to have here very soon. Obviously, again, bringing in parity, bringing in a lot of these different things. These are longer term updates. Yes, it's going to make it a lot easier for different developers to come to our ecosystem. Yes, providing value to USDC will help bring value to Lunc, but these things are going to take time. So don't expect, in my opinion, I at least don't expect any major price movement in Terra Classic right off the bat. Maybe we'll get some kind of small pump as people are excited, obviously, but beyond that, I don't really expect to see Terra Classic double or triple within the next couple weeks. And this is going to be more of a slow progression where we see Terra Classic slowly climb up and see the price increase slowly over time. Comment down below, what do you guys think? Are you excited for parity, and what are you most looking forward to as far as utilities to come to our ecosystem? Casinos, gaming, different NFT platforms. Let me know in the comments down below, what are you most excited for?